I know we want to go there.
Minute detail about everything.
John, we said this is only for people trying to rescue something.
Okay,
Bring it back,
down.
man. Bring it back. All right, guys, we're back. Another Moto Stories with Unkie Phil. Look at that.
Oh, I already did my out.
You did your out, right? Yeah, so I got a little Arsenal cider here. Delicious. In case you weren't paying attention, on the last time we talked and they listened, we were talking about when you get a motorcycle, somebody gives you a motorcycle, whatever, and it hasn't run in a really, really long time. And we talked about getting that spark plug out. Super important, things to look for, like that. So now, to pick up where we left off, you know, going into part 2, as it will.
So you're unlucky.
As it were. Yeah, you're unlucky and there's no spark.
No,
right? No sparky, as we say. Exactly. We've worked on way too many bikes together. So no sparky. So where are you going to send them first?
Well, I mean, usually the first easiest thing is try a different spark plug.
Yep.
Put a different spark plug, maybe that one, and look at that spark plug. Is it coked up? Is it shorted? Is it burnt out? Is the electrode smashed and touching? You know, there's a bunch of different things that just trying a different spark plug.
Oh, one of my favorite things that I've managed to catch myself on this one is take the damn cap off. Take the spark plug cap off the wire. Normally they're just threaded on.
Yes.
Very rarely are they like molded in. But if you can, they're not like car spark plugs. If you can take that cap off, then you just have the wire.
Yeah.
And you literally have the wire, you hold that to the cylinder head or any other part of metal, and then you crank it or give it a hit in the button. Remember, that spark plug boot, that spark plug cap is the source of many nightmares.
It can be.
We have seen all kinds of problems on that $2 part, right?
Yes.
So checking that, and other thing is the conductor inside your spark plug wire, it can retreat.
Yes.
Over time, so you might have a gap, an air gap.
Disintegrate. It's copper. It's soft copper.
Oh, we've seen
in
those
a very vibrating situation.
And we've had it where we've taken the spark plug boot or spark plug cap off, and just green dust falls out.
Right.
There's not much you can do, but maybe you can get away with cutting an inch or two off the edge of it. Do the old bris.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, give it a bris, and then put the boot back on, and you're in business. You got sparky sparks all of a sudden.
A lot of times that can do it.
That can do it. But if you're not that lucky.
Okay.
Well,
then we're going to go, I think my second move would be to look at the kill switch. Is the kill switch on? Obviously, that's, you know,
Is there a kill switch you don't know about? Like maybe on your frickin' side stand?
I mean, your key is always a kill switch, but usually there's another kill switch, or that's a side stand kill switch.
What about a clutch kill switch too?
Some of them, clutch kill switch.
Maddening.
Yeah.
But those can all be bad.
Those can be bad.
Yeah.
Kill switches are usually two different types. There's a make it or a break it.
Normally open or normally closed, right?
So yeah, normally open, normally closed. So one type of kill switch grounds out the ignition system and sends your spark into the frame and grounds it out. So the other type is when you turn, it has to be in the on position for a current to go through your ignition system, through your coil, and come out your spark plug hole.
Yep.
So do you have a make it, do you have a break it? That'll determine, you know, one thing. If it's a break it, you might want to disconnect kill switches.
Question for you, John. If I were in the position where I've checked a lot of those things out, is there a way that I could look at my coil? That's usually a big black plastic lumpy thing that's bolted to my frame.
Yeah.
There's going to be two wires going into my coil.
Yep.
Two kind of low tension looking wires, not very thick. And then there's the one big thick wire coming out of the coil. Is there a way that I could take a look at those two wires and see that there's power going into that coil?
Oh, absolutely. With a voltmeter, you could hook up a voltmeter and make sure you're getting, you know, and you know, like on Hondas, it's going to be 12 volts going to that
Absolutely.
coil.
Yep.
And there's going to be a wire coming from your points with a.
And a ton of bikes will be 6 volts going to that coil too.
Usually, on a lot of Japanese bikes, it's a black wire, which might trick a lot of people.
It does. It's not a ground.
Or a black wire with a white stripe. You're expecting a red wire to be a positive source of power. Yep. Well, usually your ignition system is going to be a black wire with a white stripe.
Yep.
And that should be what's putting energy into your coil.
Right. Exactly.
The coil is going to be triggered by another wire that goes to your points. And that's in a points. I mean, we can go into electronics.
Well, we're not going to go that deep, but I can tell you, as many times as not, we found that there's been a bad coil.
Yeah.
And when a coil does go bad, the coils are kind of binary. They either work or they don't.
Yeah.
I've never found an iffy coil, but what coils will do to trick you is a coil will work when it's cold, but then as it gets hotter, it will stop working.
Yeah.
And that can be really frustrating too, because you can run into a situation where the guy's like, oh, the bike runs for a little while and then it shuts off.
And you can do, if you're handy with a meter and you know how to use the ohms function on it,
Yep.
you can ohm it out to make sure that at least that there's not a broken wire in there, that you're getting
exactly
an open line, that you don't actually have a direct path for the current to get to your spark
The
plug.
old owner's manuals, and certainly the service manuals, would tell you what the value would be. And we're talking about the free Harbor Freight multimeter, the one that nobody ever had to pay for. You just had to suffer the indignity of going into Harbor Freight. And if you do that, you'll get a multimeter. And if you have a little coupon, you cut it out or whatever, you go in and you show them that, they'll hand you a multimeter for free. And if nothing else, it's got a 9-volt battery in it. And hey, you got a 9-volt battery now, and that's cool.
A lot of times there are 3 ohms of resistance.
Exactly. When you hook that little guy up, that's really all the diagnostic tool you need to know if a coil is functional. At least you'll know then that the coil can do what you need it to do, right? So then that's a really good test too. For me, I always look at that coil because I've chased it around so many times. If you think you got a bad coil and you have a motorcycle that has multiple coils, it's okay to switch them around. There's nothing wrong with that. It is totally okay if you have a 4-cylinder, which is a 2-coil operation. It's okay to move the left coil to the right and the right to the left, etc. Nothing wrong with that. The coils are not specific to what side of the bike they're on. Here's a crazy thing. Did you know that a coil's a coil's a coil?
Coil's a coil is a coil.
It doesn't really matter. So if you don't have the coil for your CB350, you can use the coil off your lawnmower.
It's a 12-volt coil.
Yeah, they do work that way, and
there is some difference. There are some AC coils when you're dealing with electronic
That's right.
ignitions and different stuff like that.
For the older bikes,
But we're talking older bikes, and
you can get away with it.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to do some down-home, down-dirty diagnostics. If you do put a coil in place, we're not talking about, Road Scholar stuff here. We're talking about truly Vice Grip Garage, shout out to you. We are just making it work. Now, the big deal, what I like when we do test that, we do now have spark. Because I'd say at this point, if you don't have spark at this point, you got about 975 feet of wiring in your bike.
You have dirty points.
Now, I thought we weren't going to talk about points.
John. I have to say a quick thing about points.
How great they are, I know.
No, I won't even say that.
You always say how great they are.
No, just a quick little tip with points. If you're dealing with points and you don't know if they're dirty or whatever, take a little screwdriver and just touch your points together. Go like that with your spark plug out, and every time you touch it, just go tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, and that is...
If you're getting that, but then when you kick it, you're not getting it, you have dirty points, you need to service.
Absolutely, and you're right. That is the fastest, easiest tip, is to take the points cover off. Make sure you rotate the engine to a point where the points are open. And you'll know when they're open, because it's a little thing, it just moves that much. And when you look in there and you see that they're open, they're separated, that's the point where have the spark plug where you can see it. And then screwdriver, just short that little thing out, and you're right. That's a totally...
People should know that.
That's skookum. Yeah, I like that one. That's a really good one. I like it, John. I gotta say.
Something about points you like?
I don't like points. You know I can't stand points.
But I'm over it. I mean, I'm not complaining about electronic ignition and fuel injection on my new bike, and I'm getting there.
I do understand the Lincoln Log simplicity of points, and I really do, and I've dealt with them enough. And like we said, the one time my bike died on the Shoreway, my CB500, and I was able to literally, within 10 minutes, I was able to go out. The points had simply slipped.
Yeah.
The downside, or as I like to say, the obvious side, is that had there not been points on that bike, they wouldn't have slipped.
You can listen to all 300 and some of our podcasts, and you'll find at least 20 episodes where we talk about what you can do to your points.
Also true. Absolutely. So I think that we should maybe let these guys have a break, but I do want to come back for round 3 for sure. Because I know
I still want to talk about electronic ignitions, and
I know we want to go there.
Minute detail about everything.
John, we said this is only for people trying to rescue something. Bring it back, man. Bring it back. What we got to do though is we got to think about, because there's one thing that we haven't even mentioned yet, and these guys, it's the big one. It's the one that we all have problems with, especially here in Ohio, and we're going to get that in our next episode of Tech Tips with your Unkie Phil and John. So we will see you guys next time around. Make sure to subscribe, because you're not going to want to miss the next one. So I don't care where you're from. This is open to you if you're on planet Earth. If you win We're going to send it to you. I don't gives a damn where you are.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
The crazier, the better.
It would be an honor for me to send it to you in a far off location. So remember, tell your friends, get together, and put together a fun video or a fun story about your moto story, and we're gonna put it on Moto Stories with Unkie Phil. Now, guys, there are rules, because there have to be rules. We can't just have you guys
We're not like sticklers on rules here, but
I know, but
there's always a line.
All right, there's always a line. So here's the rules. One, if you're gonna shoot us a video, either send us the whole damn video,
right,
and all the file transfer methods account.
Because we're gonna want everybody to watch it.
Yes, or send us a link to a video you've already got somewhere.
If you're already YouTube famous, we're cool with that too.
I'm okay with that too, exactly. Now, maybe it's just a really, really good story, like you're really good on the clickety-clickities, then send it to us. Okay guys, now how do you submit them? Well, submitting them is rather easy. So we have managed to have this place called Moto Stories with Unkie Phil at gmail.com. And that's gonna appear probably down here somewhere in this general area if Steve and Fernando have got their stuff together. It's gonna be right down there, and you're gonna send any evidence you have. Yeah, you said it right there, right. And when you send them to us, make sure you send the video or a link to the video, because that's the repository. That's where they're going to be. That's where they will all be heavily scrutinized. Literally, artisanally judged for their integrity, their veracity, and their silliness.
I'm afraid we're gonna get so much content, it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it'll be one guy posting 200 videos. Okay,
pics.
we know what it's gonna be. Yeah, I hate to say it, but we know that's where it's going.
Somebody's doing
But
it.
it's probably not. I'll bet you these people are gonna impress us, because it's all gonna go, every single one of them, motostorieswithUnkiePhil at gmail.com, it's all gonna go right there. Your videos, your link to your videos, your script, your Sanskrit.
We can't actually read.
We can read. You can do it. If you want to impress me with a spoken word, by God, just send me an audio track. That's all I need, because we'll post it nonetheless. But there's big, big prizes to be had. Or more or less, we'll make you internet famous for like a minuscule.
Sure.
Exactly. Check me out. Look at them. These
15
idiots
minutes
talked about me.
fame.
Right. That could be all you get. But in any case, it'll be fun, and we haven't done it yet. So we've always had fun with things we haven't done yet.
And we'd like to give back to our listeners.
It would be fun. There's no better way to get a part of this than to be a part of this. All right, guys. Well, ride fast and take chances. Bum, bum, ba-da, bum, ba-da-dum. Subscribe. Ba-da-bum, da-da-da. Press the red button, Steve. Get us out of here. Okay, good.